H.R. 143, the Unauthorized Spending Accountability Act, a bill to establish a budgetary level reduction schedule and for other purposes.
Without objection, the bill shall be considered as read and open for amendment at any point. Without objection, so ordered. The chair recognizes himself to offer an amendment in the nature of a substitute. Clerk, please designate the amendment.
An amendment in the nature of a substitute to H.R. 143 as offered by Mr. Comer of Kentucky.
Without objection, the amendment is considered as read. The substitute will be considered as original text for the purposes of further amendment. And now I recognize myself for 5 minutes for a statement on the bill and the amendment. Congressional Republicans are committed to ensuring that taxpayer dollars are spent wisely on federal government programs. According to CBO, the federal government spent $500 billion on programs with expired authorizations in fiscal year 2024. About half of these programs expired more than a decade ago. This is unacceptable. Congress needs to pay closer attention to the many federal programs left on the autopilot. Many of these programs are operating without regular, diligent congressional oversight and timely legislative authorizations to keep them relevant to the changes of today. The Unauthorized Spending Accountability Act, or USA Act, addresses this problem by requiring Congress to review unauthorized programs on a recurring basis. It also creates a clear process for terminating programs that are no longer needed or which do not have the legislative support within Congress for their reauthorization. The bill would implement a gradual reduction in the overall appropriated funding levels over a 3-year period for the total amount of unauthorized programs. This gives Congress time and appropriate incentives to consider each program and pass necessary reauthorization legislation. It is not too much to ask that Congress provide the appropriate level of scrutiny over the federal programs it has established and find the time every 3 years to ensure that federal funds are being used responsibly and effectively. The time frame under USA Act forces that to happen, ensuring that every federal program is properly authorized gives Congress the oversight and budgetary tools to increase government efficiency, improve the effectiveness of federal agency programs and missions, and help reduce government spending. The purpose of this act is not to threaten federal programs or to question the legality of congressional appropriations. The purpose of this act is to empower Congress to conduct the appropriate oversight and legislative attention to individual agencies and programs. Determining the impact of programs on affected populations is part of the authorization process, and this legislation will ensure that this happens on a continual basis. I call upon my colleagues to support this necessary legislation. I now recognize the ranking member.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I strongly oppose H.R. 143. The USA Act would slash the budget of federal programs funded through the appropriations process but not authorized by a separate act of Congress. This bill is a way to force through unpopular spending cuts by weaponizing Republicans' agenda in the House. If you want to cut spending, get the votes and cut spending. But the majority can't justify their extreme cuts to the public, so instead they're pushing this workaround to slash programs that serve the American public. The impacts of this bill would be severe. In addition to adding to congressional gridlock and dysfunction, according to the CBO, it would threaten cuts for huge priorities, including veterans benefits, funding for community policing, cancer and medical research, K-12 education, housing programs, and much more. We should reject it completely. We'll be voting no on this bill, and I urge my colleagues to do the same, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Does any chair recognize Mr. Biggs?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I ask unanimous consent to enter into the record the support of the Taxpayer Protection Alliance for H.R. 143, the Unauthorized Spending Accountability Act, and also ask unanimous consent to enter into the record the following letter of support from the National Taxpayers Union for H.R. 143, the Unauthorized Spending Accountability Act. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Without objection, so ordered. Any other members seek recognition? Seeing none, the question is now on the amendment in the nature of a substitute. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to. The question is now on favorably reporting H.R. 143 as amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The bill is ordered, favorably reported.
A request to record a vote, Mr. Chair.
A recorded vote is ordered. As previously announced, further proceedings on the question will be postponed.